When I see a friend that I have been separated from for a considerable time, I can't help but shout their name and proclaim how happy I am to see them once we meet again. When I hear the words, "America, America, God shed his grace on thee," that exact moment is the picture that immediately forms in my head. I can picture someone standing alone in a crowd until a familiar face comes into view and they cannot help from exclaiming their name and shouting how happy they are to see them. As I sat down to write this, I asked myself, why do I think of such a beautiful scene when I hear this phrase? What about America reminds me of a friend? Then it hit me. To some, America is nothing more than a mass of land. They think, America is nothing special. There are 193 more countries just like it on this earth. But to us patriots, America is more than a country. It's a belief system and a symbol of hope. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. Our country is the pinnacle of freedom, the example of strength, and the picture of perseverance. Many of history's greatest heroes came from and continue to be raised on our shores. America is the greatest nation in the world, and we patriots who recognize that fact look at America as if it is our companion. In turn, America is a nation whose citizens can do what they want and become the person they choose. It is the only nation that allows its citizens a chance at their goals and dreams. It is the land of opportunity. Best friends defend and stand up for one another in the best and worst of times. In the same way, we patriots defend and stand for our nation because we love and appreciate what this country means to those who are privileged to live in its borders, as well as to those who look on from the rest of the world. This phrase comes from the long-beloved song entitled "America the Beautiful." As I looked up the history behind this song, I learned that Katharine Lee Bates, a former English teacher at Colorado College and writer of the song's lyrics, was inspired to write this poem by a trip up Pikes Peak. She said this about her inspiration, quote, "One day, some of the other teachers and I decided to go on a trip to 14,000-foot Pikes Peak. We hired a prairie wagon. Near the top, we decided to leave the wagon and go the rest of the way on mules. I was very tired. But when I saw the view, I felt great joy. All the wonder of America seemed displayed there, with sea-like expanse." End quote. If a small portion of our nation can inspire such heartfelt words to be conjured up into existence, imagine what the entirety of our nation does when the world looks up to us. We are the only nation of our kind. No other nation can boast our liberty, our character, our beauty, our wealth, or our unique foundation in divine law and Judeo-Christian principles. People flee their own nations in order to have a better life here. The people of the world covet the American dream. However, despite these facts, citizens of our own America are seeking to destroy this greatness. They look at the nation that alone is founded under God, the nation that has done more to help the world than all other countries combined, and the nation that has allowed them to do and become whatever they want, as an enemy, not a friend. They enjoy the food, housing, personal bodily autonomy, and many other liberties that can be found only in America, while simultaneously denouncing capitalism and calling for socialism, a monster that has caused the cruel deaths of millions. They want America to look like the rest of the world, for reasons I cannot hope to understand. In a world where right is considered wrong and wrong is considered right, we as patriots need to look out for our friend America, now more than ever. For the greatest threats to our nation's greatness come from within our borders. Just by looking at the song America the Beautiful and seeing how Bates so expertly describes our country's historic greatness just after taking a hike up Pikes Peak, I become even more hopeless in understanding how anyone can look at America with disdain, especially those who are privileged to live on her soil. It's no wonder that the song was in the running to become our nation's national anthem. It is impossible to sum up American greatness, but Bates's song comes pretty darn close. Looking at the first verse, it is easy to see how a view from Pikes Peak inspired these words. As I can imagine the breathtaking view that Bates sees as she nears the summit, I can picture in my mind the awe she feels as her eyes come face to face with America's spacious skies, fruited plain, and majestic mountains. I can see her excitement to put her sights into words as she makes the long trek back to civilization. In the next verse, Bates recalls the Pilgrims whose perseverance and strength blazed the trails for freedom and democracy. The last line of this verse is what really gets me. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Only in America do we seek to control the amount of power that our government possesses and are continually enhancing our rule of law. These things are the foundation of liberty. It is only natural that the greatest nation in the world possess them. In the third verse, Bates mentions the heroes that fought when threatened by tyranny, but rather than fighting to subdue and enslave like other nations, our heroes fought because they knew our country was God's vessel for freedom and that it must be preserved. Our heroes genuinely loved their country more than they did themselves. America is what inspired that passion. In the last verse, Bates paints a picture of the patriotic dream for the future, where our country is no longer home to those who lament their position in life. The patriot's dream is a hope that America never loses its greatness, but rather continues to increase to the point where everyone, no matter their circumstance or location, has a chance at the American way of life. Unfortunately, I fear that we are drifting from this patriotic dream and are heading down a road where the things that keep America separate from the world will soon disappear. I fear that our spacious skies will be darkened by a regression in patriotism, and that our fruited plains will cease to produce. I fear that the journey of the Pilgrims and the victories of our heroes will be forgotten, and our history changed, dooming us to repeat our history until the patriot's dream is no longer attainable. However, we conservatives still have the patriotic fire that no amount of opposition can take from us. We know the importance of protecting and preserving our beautiful friend America. We know that God has blessed us with this nation and has given us the job of tending to and protecting it. It is unfortunate that those who are patriots to their own country are being labeled as the bad guys. When we stand up for our nation, people are brainwashed to just see hatred. Their logic makes absolutely no sense, yet they integrate it into every fabric of their being, causing organizations like Antifa and Marxist Black Lives Matter to spring up, trying to hurt our America. They are loud, they are dangerous, and they want nothing more than to see America fall. But if there is anything I have learned after living 17 years in this world, it's that if a dream is strong enough to bring about opposition, that same dream is strong enough to withstand it. Our patriotic dream for the future is attainable so long as we fight for it and we keep God as our focus. The Bible says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." And if God is for us, who can be against us? You see, there is no force on earth that can take away your faith or your patriotism for your country. As long as you possess those things, the dream is still alive. As long as there are patriots, America will survive because America will continue to have her friends fighting for her. They can try to bring socialism and communism into our nation. They can try to end the American dream. That's all they can do is try, because patriots will not be compliant. We will not stand idle. We will not remain the silent majority. We will rise up. We will fight for our country as if our lives depend on it, for in reality, they do. The world cannot afford to lose America to the ruthless mob, and we patriots will not let it happen. Not on our watch. So, as you think about what I said, never forget your friend America. Don't forget that she needs you. God's grace is indeed sufficient, but God does not use idle vessels to bring about his plans. In order for America to be truly blessed, to be truly bathed in God's grace, we need patriots who are willing to move. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. Thank you.